a first time viewer, welcome back. If you are a returning viewer, thank you for your likes, your comments, your subscribes, and to those of you who have booked a personal reading with me, please keep in mind that these are general messages, so do not take them personally. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can find that information in the description box below. So let's get into the message. The message that I have for today is greed versus generosity. Greed constitutes the reality of existing in solitude. It creates a boundary that hinders the flow state of abundance and stabilizes the cycle of stagnancy. Generosity, or giving, feeds the flow state, allowing a system of circulation to perpetuate within the opportunities you choose to feed by filtering through the impurities in the health and wealth of yourself and others, right? So in other words, if you are, greed is in more, I mean greed in a way that's like, maybe you have a specific mindset, right? That you are so closed-minded that you are unable to see things from the perspective of somebody else, right? That creates a boundary that only allows you to remain in the state of reality that you're currently existing in, right? You're unable to learn new things. You're unable to have a wider viewpoint of certain things. Maybe you have a certain habit or certain addictions that you are unwilling to let go of, right? That creates a boundary, right? It keeps you within a specific cycle of life, right? Maybe you are just unwilling to compromise, right? Maybe you are stubborn and unwilling to move outside of what it is that you believe to be true, right? That in a sense is greed, because it again puts you in that energy of solitude, right? You by yourself are standing in this standalone viewpoint, standalone perspective, or whatever it may be, right? Habits, addictions. This can resonate for anybody, right? It's going to resonate for each of you differently. This is a general message. But whatever it is, it creates a boundary that puts you in this place of solitude because you're unwilling to live in that state of giving and receiving, right? It's an unmovable energy, right? Whereas generosity, that doesn't mean that you are accepting any and everything. It just means that you have the ability to welcome in things that you feel that you're deserving of, things that you feel that you are worthy of, all the while returning those same efforts within the same way, right? You also return specific viewpoints. You also return specific habits or emotions or things like that, right? So let's pull some cards to see what messages come out. What message do you have for the collective at this time? Help me to articulate a clear and concise message in order for it to be received in the way that you want it to best be received. Help me to see what it is that I need to see to get the message across as clear as possible. And help me to deliver any messages that you deem worthy in order to serve your highest good, for the highest good of humanity with harm to none. What messages do you have for the collective at this time? What messages do you have for the collective at this time? Should I use this deck or should I? Okay. So you have guilt, peace, indecision, and balance at the bottom of the deck. Right? So again, this is the energy of the opposition of greed versus generosity, right? Being able, again, like not being able to see things from a certain perspective, right, kind of creates that boundary, right? That you think that you're living in a sense of peace because in that specific point of time, or within that specific reality, or within that specific area, mindset, perspective, habit, addiction, whatever it may be for you, right? Living within that specific cycle makes you feel at peace because you are not allowing opposition to kind of help you to bring that sense of change, bring that sense of growth, bring that sense of expansion, right? You're only allowing yourself to remain stagnant within that position, within that mindset, within that addiction, right? You're only allowing yourself to remain within that one cycle, right? So in your mind, within your reality, you're living at peace because there's nothing, it's almost as if, how can I put this into words how I'm sensing it? It's almost as if you're just like surrounded by a group of like yes men, right? Nobody to tell you when you're wrong, nobody to tell you when you're making a bad decision, nobody to tell you when you need to look at things from a different perspective, or that you need to make a certain change within a certain area in your life. You feel like you're living at peace because everybody around you is agreeing with you. There is no negativity in a sense because nobody is there to tell you no, right? So again, you're in this place of solitude. You're in this one specific energy. You're living within one cycle that is repetitive, right? So in your mind, that's peace because there is no change. You're living within the balance of one reality, right? I hope that's making sense how I'm like perceiving it, right? But if you are, versus being surrounded by someone who does say maybe that wasn't the best choice, or maybe you need to look at things from a different perspective, or maybe you need to drop that bad habit because it's creating an addiction that is bringing in negative cycles in your life, right? Even though, how can I put this into words? Even though you may be shown a certain aspect, right? Even though you're living within that specific reality and nobody around you is telling you no, it's still creating negative outcomes for you, right? So you're not living in a place of solitude because all of the negative things that come from the reality of nobody telling you no is not a positive cycle. It doesn't encourage growth, right? It actually brings you down. It makes you lower, right? I hope that's making sense how I'm perceiving it. Let's pull some tarot to see if maybe the message will become a little clearer. I mean, it seems clear to me, but I'm just trying to make sure that I'm articulating it in a way that brings clarity, right? So clarify guilt. Clarify guilt. But when you're in a position where you are open to change, where not everybody is telling you yes, or people are saying like maybe you need to look at things from a different perspective, it encourages growth. Because even though you may feel as if it is negativity on the outside because people are going against what it is that you're offering, right? Whether it's a mindset, a perspective, or a habit, addiction, right? It encourages growth because it forces change. Whereas if you're surrounded by a group of yes men, it does not bring change in your life, right? It just encourages stagnancy. It encourages the negative things, right? Negative cycles, negative choices, right? That just create harmful circumstances, right? See, look, the sun, the hanged man, and the seven of pentacles. Being made aware of certain circumstances, being made aware of certain or different viewpoints, right? Help you to grow from a certain perspective, right? That is generosity in a sense. Not necessarily, I don't mean generosity and greed within a sense of specifically money, right? Not even specifically within like your time, but it is, again, it's currency in general. Your mindset, the certain habits that you create, the certain cycles that you're existing in, the certain perspectives or viewpoints that you have, the certain habits that you're creating, right? That basically creates the cycles within your life, right? So again, when you think of currency, think of more than just physical money, because physical money is not the only form of currency, and it's definitely not the most abundant form of currency. Although there is abundance within that form, time and knowledge are the most abundant forms of currency, right? Clarify guilt. The Lovers and Temperance, right? So with the Six of Wands, right? So again, not being afraid to have this sense of acceptance within the areas that you may need to make changes, right? Not feeling shame within having to build your self-confidence. Not feeling shame within having to gain a sense of courage within an area, right? Because why would you feel shameful about gaining something, right? Even if it's a lesson that you have to learn, you're receiving the knowledge, you're receiving the perspective, you're receiving the courage, the confidence that will come from that, right? So you're not losing anything by learning, you're gaining, right? So just because somebody does not agree with you, or just because somebody says, hey, maybe that might not be the right choice, that doesn't mean that you have to accept every single opposing viewpoint or every single person that doesn't agree with you. That doesn't mean that you have to receive that, but being aware of being open to the perspective that exists outside of the one that you have, right? I'm really hoping this message is clear, because the way that it's coming through is like, I don't know how to put it into words. But again, it's not being ashamed of letting go of old perspectives, not being afraid of letting go of old habits, not being afraid of letting go of old bonds or connections that are no longer aligning with where it is that you're choosing to grow, not being afraid of, hey, get off of that. Not being afraid of accepting new beliefs or new depths of faith that continue your or that expand your spiritual growth and knowledge within the sense, right? Because the Lover's card can represent like a connection or a bond, but it also represents like a choice. It also represents, like, you see, like this right here is the spiritual version of this. This is within the physical reality, and this is the spiritual version, right? This is like those two aspects being brought into alignment, right? You not existing solely in the physical realm, or you not existing solely in the spiritual existence, right? You kind of merging those two and aligning them so that you are able to create an equal balance and a flow state between the two realities, right? Generosity, right? Creating that balance, creating that openness, right? So that you are able to kind of see things, right? Look, the Chariot and the Death card. So that you're able to gain a sense of success, so that you're able to gain a sense of growth, so that you are able to receive a new level of leadership, right? A new level of existence, a new level of being, right? Death and rebirth, change, growth, right? This is the generosity, right? Clarified peace. The Six of Cups. The Fool. And the Nine of Wands. Right. So again, you may have been in a position where you were kind of just at peace with existing within the novice of the things that you were brought up on, right? Finding, I don't even want to say finding peace, but being content within the existence of moving forward with the knowledge that was kind of imparted on you, right? And not being, oh, or not feeling the need or the desire to kind of seek new ways, new values, new morals, new foundations, right? New lessons in how to portray love, new lessons in how to create a home, new lessons in how to exist within a specific faith-based reality is what's coming through, right? Because the Six of Cups represents the home. It represents the foundation of your being, right? It represents maybe past life experiences. It represents like memories. So maybe you just were in a place where you were content with living within a specific cycle that you've always been in, right? I've always had these friends. I don't feel the need to invest in new connections. I've always thought this way, so why would I feel the need to listen to the advice that you're giving me? Or I've always had these morals or these values, so why would I adopt new habits, right? Or I've always saw things from this perspective, so why would I see things from the perspective that you're trying to provide, right? But this energy is definitely, again, it's greed versus generosity, so I'm seeing things from both perspectives. I'm also seeing you being open right now within this sense. This, maybe you're being open to kind of putting forth the effort, right? Taking forth the risk to stepping outside of your comfort zone, right? Taking a leap of faith towards creating your own sense of stability within the home, creating your own sense of faith within yourself, right? Within your spiritual knowledge, your spiritual guidance, or how you receive hope or motivation or inspiration, right? It's almost as if you're taking a risk, persevering on, because the Nine of Wands, look, the Ace of Wands, new passions, it's a new beginning, right? A new sense of inspiration, a new way of thinking, a new way of desiring, right? So maybe you in the past were stuck in this energy of greed where you didn't feel the need to step outside of your comfort zone, but now you're stepping into a place where you are challenging yourself to experience new realities. You're challenging yourself to experience new passions or new desires or new ideas, right? Clarify indecision. The Hierophant and the Queen of Wands, your faith, your morals, how you see things, right? The Hierophant also has the gift of foresight, right? Look, the Six of Wands is back at the bottom of the deck. Leadership, how you display leadership, how you experience leadership, right? How you experience the Six of Wands is somebody who has a lot of eyes on them, right? It's somebody who inspires those around them. It's an influencer of some sort, right? It's somebody who kind of has the ability to shift the reality around them because everybody is looking to them for a sense of guidance. Everybody is looking to them for a sense of inspiration or a sense of motivation, right? You are the leader. The Six of Wands is very successful. They are the perseverer, right? They're somebody who kind of is like the motivator, right? Somebody who gives a motivational speech that inspires everybody, and then now everybody's looking to you for advice, right? With the Queen of Wands, is somebody who is very beautiful, somebody who's very how can I put it into words? It's somebody who has the ability to kind of bring things from a spiritual perspective into a reality, right? They're a manifester in a sense, right? But the Hierophant is somebody who has the gift of foresight within the physical realm, right? The High Priestess has the gift of foresight within the spiritual reality, right? The things unseen. But the Hierophant is the foreseer within the physical realm. They have the ability to perceive things before they happen within the existence that they're currently in, right? But it's also, again, the Hierophant is like the spiritual leader, right? So maybe you were in a place where you weren't sure that you wanted to, you were kind of balancing between two realities within stepping into this leadership role, or kind of remaining within the back seat of existing within the leadership role but not allowing other people to see you within that reality, right? That's what's coming through. Maybe you were kind of in the balance within keeping your gifts to yourself and not sharing them with the world around you, but now you are in a place where you're more willing, right? You're creating things, you're creating opportunities, you're creating perspectives, you're creating habits, you're creating new cycles that kind of put you in the spotlight of people who are able to see what it is that you stand for, right? Where people are able to see what it is that you are, the values that you truly have, the morals that you carry within yourself, right? It's action oriented, right? It's not just based on your spiritual beliefs, although the Queen of Wands does represent like spiritual guidance, right? But it's the Hierophant here says it's like kind of bringing that into the balance, right? That is what is your spiritual beliefs, taking action so that your spiritual beliefs are displayed within your physical reality, right? Your leadership skills are shown, right? You're not afraid to express certain viewpoints, certain perspectives, certain beliefs, certain morals, right? But you are allowing yourself to be inspired by those things and to inspire others by the things that you are inspired by, right? I hope that's making sense. But you're definitely stepping into this leadership role. You're definitely stepping into the eye of the public, right? The Six of Wands is somebody who's in the public eye, right? So let's pull 4 cards. 1 card for what we can learn as the major lesson regarding this message. 1 card for what we can create regarding this message. 1 card for what we can meditate on as the focus of this message. And 1 card for what we can innovate within our cycles and habits to increase our growth and expansion regarding this message. This message was very back and forth, right? Because of that, like, greed versus generosity. It's very like I'm seeing both perspectives. I'm seeing someone who is kind of stuck within a certain area, but then I also see someone who is very like willing to move forward, someone who is ready to take place, somebody who's ready to make the changes, right? So again, or maybe this is like past and future, right? It's going to resonate for each of you differently. It can be past and future for some of you. Maybe in the past you were unwilling to change. Maybe in the past you were unwilling to gain new insights, and maybe you were unwilling to move forward and step into the area of success because maybe you wanted to kind of remain in this hermit energy. You wanted to remain in this novice energy where your gifts were kind of hidden, whereas now you're kind of willing to step into the forefront. You're willing to be seen. You're willing to step into that leadership role. Not to say that you always had these leadership qualities, but you were reluctant to share those with those around you because you didn't want to be placed in the forefront. Whereas now you're in the space of just automatically taking that role because you know that you have what it takes to fulfill that position or to fulfill that role, right? whether that be the role of a boss, the role of a parent, the role of a motivator, the role of it's just like a leadership role where you're taking the reins, right? So again, that title can be different for each of you, but again, it's just you taking ownership of leading the chariot, because we saw that chariot, right? You being the driver, you being in the driver's seat, right? So one card for what we can learn as the major lesson: you're no longer being comfortable playing the back seat, making things or letting things happen for you. So one message for what we can learn is heart of the matter with make a change. Welcome change into your life, right? That's exactly what I was just talking about. Going from sitting in the passenger seat to getting behind the wheel and taking the reins, taking control of your desires, aligning your life's pathways through the heart, right? So again, leading with your passions, right? Leading with your mind, leading with your motivation, leading with your faith, leading with your desires, right? And not just allowing things to happen for you, not waiting for things to happen to you, or not waiting for things to reveal themselves, right? But putting yourself in a position so that you are able to see things as they are and not waiting for them to reveal themselves to you, right? One card for what we can create regarding certain opportunities. One card for what we can create. You are unique with open mind, right? You can create the space where you're able to see things from a different perspective, right? You can create the space where you are allowing yourself to gain new knowledge, gain new insights, gain new levels of enlightenment, right? Where you don't always feel like you know everything, but you're creating the space for you to continuously learn, right? You're creating the space where you can continuously see things from multiple aspects, right? Not just one viewpoint, not just two perspectives, but being able to see things from multiple areas and choosing the one that best fits your growth and expansion towards where it is that you're desiring to grow, right? Gaining the confidence within putting yourself in this position of the student to be able to, again, gain new insights or gain new lessons or gain new perspectives, right? Gain new viewpoints. Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. That's the Lovers in the Temperance card, right? Gaining that sense of self-confidence within who you are, but also knowing that sometimes you'll be the teacher and sometimes you'll be the student. And that doesn't make you less or more of either one. It just puts you in the balance of both, which again is generosity. It puts you in that cycle of abundance to be able to give and receive versus always being the teacher and you're putting that blockage up because you're unwilling to learn, or remaining in that position of the student where you are always learning but you never apply the skills that you have gained, right? You never apply the lessons that you have learned within your reality or within your life, right? But again, remaining balanced and having the confidence and the courage to put yourself in the position of the teacher and the student so that, again, you can continuously exhibit that level of generosity, that level of abundance, because you're gaining the knowledge and then you're also teaching it. You're gaining the wisdom, you're also applying it. You're gaining the whatever it is, you're gaining something, but you're also giving, right? It creates a flow state, abundance, generosity, right? One card for what we can meditate on as the focus of this message: do not be frustrated with move forward, right? So again, being open, not being so stubborn and unwilling to move, right? Because the leaders are different from bosses, right? Bosses give instruction. Bosses exist in the energy of greed, where they are always in the teacher position, right? Unwilling to learn, unwilling to see things from another perspective. Whereas leaders remain in the energy of generosity, right? They take the opinions, and they take the viewpoints and the perspective and the experiences of those in which they are influencing, and they use that information to increase the experience, increase the knowledge, increase the motivation, the inspiration, so that everybody gains, right? Not just the boss, but the leader is again receiving, so that they are able to give in a more abundant sense, right? So again, meditating on the energy in which or focusing on the areas in which you are being called to make a change, meditating on the areas in which you're called to being or step into this area of growth, so that you are able to again remain within that balance of generosity, right? One card for what we can innovate. Way of faith with work of art, right? Let faith be your guide, right? Be the portrait of divine beauty. So again, innovating new ways to have increase, right? How to increase your knowledge, how to increase your perspective, putting yourself in positions so that you are gaining new insights, right? Putting yourself into positions where you are having new experiences that give you new lessons, right? Because if you always go to the same restaurant and you always order the same thing, you're never going to know what it's like to try a new food, right? You're never going to know what it's like to experience that, the adventure of just trying something new, right? So again, creating opportunities or innovating the habit of putting yourself in the position of the student, so that you're able to gain new intuitive insights, right? And again, putting yourself within that position of the leader, putting yourself within that position of generosity, it puts you in a position where you're able to create more, where you're able to give birth to more, where you're able to have new ideas, right? Have new insights, have new senses of motivation, have new perspective, right? It breathes the energy of increase, right? So just because you're having to give something, that doesn't mean that you're losing. It ultimately creates the energy where you're of abundance, where you're able to receive more because you're giving out something, right? You have to lose something in order to gain more, right? You have to let go of one thing in order to multiply that existence, right? But that's the message that I have for you guys. I hope that it resonated. I know that if you made it to the end of this video, you have found something in it that is worthy and valuable to you. Have a good one. Bye.